What if the gun you were sure would hold its value turned into a quiet liability in your safe? What if the pistol with a waiting list, the rifle that felt like a blue-chip buy, and the shotgun everyone swore was future-proof started sinking faster than a steel plate at a 3-gun match? Over the last year, that has happened to many owners. 40, 50, even 60% drops between 2024 and 2025, driven by saturation, shifting tastes, and ruthless competition. Some of these models were legends or cult favorites. Some were bestsellers. But today, they're clogging pawn shop racks and classifieds while newer designs sprint past them. This isn't fear-mongering. It's a reality check so you don't get stuck holding the bag, and a roadmap for buying smart in a volatile market where hype turns to dust overnight, and once premium picks suddenly look like yesterday's tech. Start with the modular hammer-fired pistol with the right idea at the wrong time. The Sig Sauer P250 arrived with a bold promise. One serialized fire control unit you could drop into different grip modules, calibers, and slide lengths. In theory, that meant a single purchase could become a full-size .40 for duty, a compact 9 for carry, or a subcompact .45 without buying another frame. In practice, the long double-action only trigger felt like a revolver in an era sprinting toward crisp striker breaks. When Sig followed with the P320, same modular chassis, cleaner brake, shorter reset, the market moved on overnight. For years, the P250 limped along as the other modular Sig, a serviceable shooter with respectable accuracy and reliability, but no heat. Through early 2024, clean used examples with spare mags could still fetch $450 to $500. By mid-2025, 325 listings are common, and they sit. That's roughly a 40% haircut for a pistol that never became collectible and never built an aftermarket ecosystem. As a bargain path into centerfire Sig, it's fine. As an investment, it's a caution sign with night sights. Premium ARs learned the same humility. Daniel Defense's DDM 4v7 earned its reputation with cold hammer-forged barrels, tuned internals, and excellent free-float M-Log-K rails. During the 2019-2021 spikes, rifles sold between 1,800 and 2,000. In 2025, you can find brand new examples around $1,250 to $1,300, the going rate. The rifle did not get worse. Competition got better, and shelves got fuller. BCM and Aero tightened tolerances. Value leaders like PSA cleaned up gas systems and started shipping rifles with features that used to live in the boutique tier, often under $1,000. With the political temperature cooler and buyers spoiled for choice, resale on top shelf off the rack softened. The lesson isn't that the V7 is bad, far from it. It's that paying a panic premium and expecting appreciation was never a strategy. It was a mood. If you bought for performance and plan to shoot it for a decade, you're fine. If you expected a profit, the market has answered. Duty pistols from prestige factories are not immune. FN's FNS9 looked right on paper in 2011. Striker fired, ambidextrous controls, 17-round capacity, and the halo of a company that builds the saw and the scar. On the range, the trigger felt spongy, the reset unremarkable, and the grip angle different enough to punish muscle memory. The aftermarket was thin, which meant fewer holsters, fewer sight options, and less community support. Launched against incumbents with massive bases, it struggled. In 2025, police trade-ins with night sights and 3 mags often sit in the $300 to $350 range, nearly a 50% slide from original ticket. They run, they're accurate enough, and they'll quietly do their job. They're just not a store of value. If you buy one, buy it to shoot without guilt, not to resell with a grin. Nothing shows how fast trends shift like concealed carry. The original Smith & Wesson M&P Shield detonated the market in 2012, a thin, shootable 9 that hid easily and performed like a service pistol. Then the SIG P365 rewrote the rules in 2018 with true micro double-stack capacity, and competitors followed. Overnight, the single-stack shield looked like yesterday's solution, even though it still works. In 2025, Clean first-gen shields commonly sell for $250 to $300, a hard drop for owners who paid closer to $400. The pistol remains a phenomenal budget carry piece with broad parts support. It simply isn't the benchmark anymore, and resale reflects that mercilessly. For a new carrier on a budget, it's still a smart buy. For value retention, it's taken its lumps and will likely stay there. Shotguns tell a related story. When a platform is everywhere, price gravity wins. The Mossberg 500 has served since the early 1960s in duck blinds, deer camps, patrol cars, and closets across the country. Dual action bars, an ambidextrous tang safety, barrels you can swap in minutes, and millions produced. That ubiquity is great for users and terrible for resale. In calm markets, you will find lightly used hunting or defense models for $225 to $275. The design did not fail. Supply never sleeps. If you want a hard-use tool, this is still one of the smartest buys on the rack. If you want a sleeper collectible, look elsewhere. The 500's very success crushes scarcity premiums. Treat it like a hammer you happily swing, not a coin you expect to appreciate. Budget bolt guns have been squeezed from both ends. Remington 783 entered in 2013 to fight the Savage Axis, Ruger American, and Mossberg Patriot. Pillar bedding, a free-floated barrel, an adjustable trigger, and frequent scope-included packages made it a ready-to-hunt bargain. The rifles shoot. Sub-MOA groups with decent .308 loads are not rare, but competition matured. Axis 2 triggers improved, Ruger refined. Ergonomics and entry Tikas tempted hunters to spend just a little more. In 2020, you can find used 783s with the original glass for roughly $250 or less, a 35 to 45% haircut from recent street prices. Again, not a knock on performance. It's a reminder that in a crowded aisle, excitement sells and middle of the road gets discounted. As a deer rig for real-world ranges, it's a steal. As something to flip, not so much. Innovative DASA designs also feel the draft of striker dominance. Beretta's PX4 Storm brought a rotating barrel lockup that truly softens recoil, especially in 9mm. Full-size, compact, and subcompact variants served civilians and agencies, but the aftermarket stayed thin while the carry world fell in love with optics-ready strikers. Today, clean, full-size PX4s run roughly $425 to $475. As store of value, they lag. If you want a gun that shoots softer than it looks and rewards good DASA work, the PX4, especially tuned, delivers. If you want something that holds heat on auction sites, it won't be this one unless production ends and nostalgia kicks in later. CZ's P07 deserves more oxygen than it gets. Using the Omega system with the option to run a decocker or a manual safety, it delivers classic CZ ergonomics in a compact polymer package. Early finish quirks were corrected, and by the mid-2010s it had a loyal following for good reason. It tracks flat, points naturally, and runs like a tank. Yet CZ's own P10 Striker series cannibalized attention, while others dominated. In 2025, $375 to $425 buys a very nice P07, a 20 to 30% sag from original street prices. If you want value as a shooter, it's a gem. If you're flipping guns like baseball cards, it moves slowly. The right buyer will appreciate it. The market at large will scroll past to a striker with an optic cut. Even stalwart icons soften when a category is crowded. Ruger's SR1911 arrived in 2011 as a US-made Series 70 style .45 that punched above its price with stainless construction, Novak-style sights, and a clean trigger. The 1911 market is perpetually oversupplied. Budget imports undercut on price, mid-tier brands fight for space, and semi-custom houses lure aspirational buyers. In 2025, very good SR1911s commonly sell in the $575 to $625 window, a 15 to 20% drift from early street pricing. That's not catastrophic depreciation. It's the gravity of a genre with too many SKUs and not enough scarcity. If you want an honest American 1911 to shoot for years, it's terrific. If you expected it to appreciate, the math has never been on your side. Finally, consider the big frame 45 that checks every modern box, yet still slides a bit because the world around it got crowded. FN's FNX 45 tactical ships optics ready and suppressor ready with tall night sights and a 15+1 capacity in a caliber most pistols feed with single stacks. A decade ago, it felt singular. Now it is one of many. In 2025, the optics ready wave is everywhere, across smaller, cheaper-to-run platforms. Used FNX 45 tactical pistols at 950 to 1050 reflect a 20 to 25% ease from MSRP, not a collapse, but a reminder that even thoroughbreds jog when the parade gets crowded. As a keeper, it's excellent. Soft shooting for its size, reliable with cans, and tailor-made for DAHSA fans. As a flip, it's steady, not spiky, and it will likely hold its niche rather than explode upward. So what pushed these values down? Three forces worked together. First, saturation. Years of elevated production met a cooler political climate, and inventory piled up as urgency evaporated. Second, substitution. Competitors delivered 90% of the performance for 60% of the price, or introduced a new capability, like true micro double stack capacity, that reset buyer expectations overnight. Third, support. Without deep aftermarket ecosystems, guns cool fast because shooters want holsters, sights, plates, springs, and shared setup knowledge. When you can't dress a gun the way you want, you scroll past it, and so does the next buyer. These factors compound, and once the slide starts, it takes either scarcity or a major market shock to reverse it. Psychology matters too. In hot markets, buyers call purchases investments. In cool markets, they remember guns are consumer goods. The DDM4 V7 that felt like a forever rifle in 2020 looks, in 2025, like a great shooter you should enjoy, just not a Bond you should ladder. The shield that saved the day still disappears under a t-shirt and still shoots flat, but a P365 offers more rounds in the same footprint. The P250, perfectly adequate on the range, never gained the one thing it needed most, a compelling reason to exist once the P320 arrived. None of this makes the guns bad. It makes them normal in a market that punishes anything less than exceptional or scarce, and that's a healthy reminder to buy for use first. If you already own one of these, here is the play. Stop thinking of it like stock, and start thinking of it like steel. Shoot it, train with it, set it up the way you want, and get your money's worth in reps, skills, and memories. Most of these platforms are durable, reliable, and capable. Just unfashionable for now. If you are shopping, let depreciation help. A $300 shield with fresh springs is a better buy for a new carrier than an expensive Safe Queen. A 325 P250 is an inexpensive way to drill DA-only discipline. A 257-83 with decent glass will take deer cleanly at woods distances. A 425 PX4 is a sweet-shooting DA-ISA gateway with real recoil advantages. Value isn't only what you can sell it for, it's what it gives you every weekend. If this helped you dodge a bad buy, share it with a friend and keep the conversation going in the comments below tonight. Please, to avoid the next slump, focus on fundamentals that resist fads. Broad institutional adoption props up aftermarket support and long-term parts availability. Deep ecosystems, think holsters, plates, springs, triggers, and armorer knowledge, act like scaffolding for resale. Matching norms, optics-ready slides, and accessory rails slows obsolescence. On rifles, resist panic premiums. Buy when the temperature is cool, and you will smile later, even if sticker prices never spike again. Count on scarcity you can verify, limited-run craftsmanship, true historical provenance, or a platform that solves a problem nothing else does. Everything else is a wave. Some you ride, some you watch, while you keep your wallet closed and your training schedule full. Bottom line, cycles cycle. Platforms peak, plateau, and pass the torch. Buyers get savvier. Manufacturers improve the middle tier until it embarrasses yesterday's top shelf. Accept that, buy smarter, shoot more, and worry less about graphs. Do not tie your enjoyment of a gun to a resale price that lives at the mercy of trends. Tie it to what the gun lets you learn and do. When you treat every purchase like a tool first and a potential collectible second, or not at all, you win regardless of what the market does next. So tell me this, which of these would you keep and run hard even if it never gained $1? And which would you flip today while demand still exists? Drop your thought in a comment and subscribe to Bulletbound and turn on notifications so you never miss the next deep dive.